new camera angle. What do you think? I don't know. It's 1:19 in the morning. Bibbidi boop boop bop. Dude, things. I actually remember these things. Construction Stories, part 69. Meat sack. It just had to happen. It had to happen eventually. Was the story about the meat sack. What happens is our foremen have these group lunches in which they talk about things, right? I've talked about this before. It's elementary. Now, they get food for these lunches. So a lot of the times they'll get like pizza or chicken wings or just ribs or something. And today they got ribs. But they got approximately 40 pounds too much food. So on the way back from lunch, I'm just walking to work from my regular lunch, and this other guy is walking this way from the foreman lunch. And he turns around and is like, "Hey, man." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Man." And I'm like, "What?" Oh, and there was a carpenter behind me, and that's who he was talking to. But I was there too. And he's like, "Hey, dude, they have a bunch of extra food that they're going to throw away if nobody eats it, so go in and get some after you're done working." And the guy's like, "Oh, alright." And I'm like, "Me too?" He's like, yeah. So, I walked in after work, and I walk into this room. Doors are wide open. I walk in, and it was like, I want to say it was like a hobo's dream, but I don't really know what hobos dream of. But if I was a hobo, this would be my dream. There was like all this food and sauce and food just laid out on this table. And they're in those big aluminum, like, dishes that are like that tall and they're super long. And it was packed full of just grease and fat and ribs. Just tons of ribs. And I'm looking around like, okay, I gotta do this a smart way. I gotta get a bag, I gotta get a plate, I gotta put food on the plate and put it in the bag. But it wasn't having any of that. There were no plates. There were no clean plates, I should say. Oh, I should have grabbed the pop. There were 2, like, actual 12 packs of soda there, and I should have grabbed those. Never mind. But, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, I'm like, how am I going to get all this food out to my car without, like, making my car smell like ribs for the next 6 weeks? Not that that's a bad thing, but whatever, I don't know. And then I see, like, a shopping bag that they brought some of the sauce in, and it's just one of those regular, just little shopping bags. I'm like, game over, man, it's on. And I grab those tongs and I go to work. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah. And so I walk out to my car with this shopping bag literally filled to the brim with ribs, just pork and beef, and it was, so good. Even cold, I'm just America. Anyways, that was awesome. And I've come home and I've put it in bags, and now they're in my refrigerator, and I'm going to freaking eat them. It's going to be great. The other thing that happened is that 2 of our guys got laid off. Now, it's kind of depressing, because one of the guys was actually a very hard-working individual. Even though he didn't speak English quite well, he attempted to do his work very hard. And that was worded really weird. He applied himself to his task, I should say. And, like, the other guy that got laid off was not the best worker, so I'm like, it had to happen. But the issue with me is that this other guy does less work than both of them put together. And so for some reason, when 2 people got laid off, the guy who didn't work that much got laid off, and the guy who actually tried and did work got laid off, and the guy who did absolutely no work at all stayed on. And it was because he had a traffic control safety card, which, like, they need to have on night. So if nobody has that, then they can't do flagging, and nobody else has it, so they have to keep him on the crew. Otherwise, like, nobody can flag. And so this Ugh, it's just really sad because I liked the person that got laid off because he worked hard, and it was just nice to have somebody who, even though he had no idea what was going on half the time, he was like, do this? Okay, and then he'd go for it. Also, the guy who didn't work that hard and got laid off was at his truck, at his SUV, I don't know, at his SUV after work, and you know how people stand, you know how I talked about people standing around at their cars and drinking beer, like in a little circle and just kind of going for it? They were doing that, but with tacos. He had, like, this little buffet thing set out in the trunk of his, like, you open up the trunk, and there's, like, this little taco table set up, and I come over, and he's like, hey, grab a taco. What? Why? And it was just really confusing, because, I mean, like, that's really awesome, but I've never seen that before in my life, and it's just hilarious. So I grabbed a freaking taco, and I ate it, and then I came home, and now I'm going to go take a shower, and I'm going to go to sleep. Also, you guys, you guys are freaking awesome, okay? I'm just throwing that out there. I don't get on the computer and read the comments much, because I don't have a computer, but I went to the library today, and I read, like, every single comment that everybody has posted, and you guys are just great people, and I want you to know that, because I was reading them, and every time I read one, and I was like, aww, and then I read another one, and I was like, aww, and it was just heartwarming. Especially that guy who had, like, a thunderstorm military adventure. Shoot, dude. That's intense. Anyways, I just wanted to shout out. You guys are fantastic. Fantastico. You will be remembered in the things of history. Shoot. My words aren't working at the moment. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day. I honestly, truly do, because you are great people, and I just want you to know that. So, also, tell me, is this camera angle better? Because the other one is up here and, like, looks down, and this one is here and is more straight ahead, and I don't know. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Good night, guys.